Jacksonian democracy introduced the idea anyone can succeed into the American psychology. In American literature, this new ideal found its voice in the American Transcendental Movement. Its founder was Ralph Waldo Emerson.
In 1836, his short book, Nature, signaled the introduction of a new spiritual movement for Americans. A movement steeped in a mystical appreciation of nature and America's unblemished wilderness. A movement that would be reborn as the environmental movement 150 years later in the last decades of the 20th century. The movement was American Transcendentalism, and its leader was celebrated American essayist and poet Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Within these plantations of God, a decorum and sanctity reign. A perennial festival is dressed, and the guest sees not how he should tire of them in 1,000 years. In the woods, we return to reason and faith. There, I am part or particle of God.
Emerson was born in 1803 in Boston, Massachusetts. Educated at Harvard Divinity School, his intellect and thirst for knowledge soon outdistanced the traditional teachings of the church, so much so that he would openly break with the church and found American Transcendentalism, and with it, a literary style that was uniquely American. Transcendentalism began as a backlash against the doctrine of established religions in the 1830s. Joining Emerson were Henry David Thoreau, Margaret Fuller, and Nathaniel Hawthorne. American Transcendentalists believed in an ideal state that transcended the physical and experiential, a state that could be reached only through a person's intuition. Through Transcendentalism, Emerson viewed America as a raw, unsullied land. Because it was unfettered and natural, Emerson came to see nature itself as a powerful, all-encompassing divinity, flowing through everyone and everything. He would go on to espouse nature's virtues and its spirituality in his essay, Nature.
Nature is a setting that fits equally well a comic or a mourning piece. In good health, the air is a cordial of incredible virtue. Crossing a bare common in snow puddles at twilight under a clouded sky, without having in my thoughts any occurrence of special good fortune, I have enjoyed a perfect exhilaration. I am glad to the brink of fear.
In his essay, The American Scholar, Emerson wrote eloquently about man's connection to the divine.
We will walk on our own feet. We will work with our own hands. We will speak our own minds. A nation of men will for the first time exist because each believes himself inspired by the divine soul, which also inspires all men.
Emerson closed with an inspiring call to a new generation of Americans. It was a call that would lead the way to American greatness.
Build therefore your own world. As fast as you conform your life to the pure idea in your mind, that will unfold its great proportions. A correspondent revolution in things will attend the influx of the Spirit.
Many would heed Emerson's call. 19th century writers such as Poe, Dickinson, and Whitman would establish a purely American form of literature, free from European influences. But it would be 100 years after Emerson's death in 1882 that his call to glorify and sanctify nature would be revitalized in America's environmental movement.